Hey there, everybody. Welcome back to another Think With Me Thursday. I'm Justin here at Effective. We've got an interesting one planned out for today. First thing we're going to take a look at is the article that I talked about or was planning on talking about a couple of weeks ago from the New York Times on surveillance-based remote work. This is a troubling trend that's happening in a lot of workplaces that not only impacts how you get work done, but it also impacts your productivity overall, impacts burnout, impacts everything. And so I want to really take some time to unpack this and think about it, talk through it, because this is not a healthy trend. And I think there are some solid reasons for that. The other thing we'll take a look at today, too, is the 0.16 update for Obsidian. There's a couple of interesting changes with that you might want to be aware of. So with that, welcome to the stream today. It's been a couple of weeks. A lot of stuff going on in my neck of the woods. I've had a lot of different schedule changes, and so it's been a while since I've been able to get on a stream, but glad to be back with you. Let's dig in, however, and get rolling into that article about surveillance-based remote work. This is something I came across on LinkedIn, but it's gotten a lot of traction lately, and I'm going to just do a little bit of highlighting with it and kind of talk through some of the things that I'm seeing and reading. What's kind of interesting about this article, too, is that they've built in a quote-unquote productivity tracker into the article. So if you scroll down here just to the first section, you can see, hey, you've been reading this article for 13 minutes. And it shows how far down you've scrolled, the clicks you've made, keystrokes, your idle time, and then your active time. I'm just going to refresh it here so we can get an accurate picture of our productivity while reading this article together today. I think that's interesting, but it's a little bit harrowing as well because companies are actually doing this to their employees. Yikes. Not my favorite thing to see. So the title of the article is The Rise of the Worker Productivity Score. An interesting parallel with this is the social credit score that people like countries like China have implemented, which is also a little scary. There's an article from Wired about it, but yeah, basically they track what you're doing and where you're at and what you're saying so that you can get a job or not get a job because they don't like you. It's kind of scary, and this seems to be a parallel to me, a parallel world trying to track worker productivity using hypermetricified software to make sure that people are working all day. So anyway, we're going to dig in. Wow. Auto highlight that. By the way, I'm using the Readwise highlighter extension for Chrome to do this highlighting automatically while I'm in there. This will funnel all these highlights into Readwise for me, which is pretty nice. I really enjoy having that. It just makes it really easy. Read on the web, highlight your stuff as you go. So this person is a senior vice president at a finance company, looks like. High hourly rate, but low paycheck because her employer was paying her based upon the minutes when the computer system was active. But as it says here, none of the offline work, thinking, math problems, reading printouts, wasn't factored in whatsoever. This is a key component here too, trust. Eight of the 10 largest private U.S. employers track individual productivity. Not a fan of that. I wonder what those 8 of 10 I wonder what those 8 of 10 private companies are. What are the 10 largest private companies in the United States? So, car. Sorry, folks. It looks like OBS just crashed on me. We'll get back into it. So, here are the top 10 private companies: Cargill, Koch Industries, Publix, Mars, HEB, Reyes Holdings, Pilot Company, CNS Wholesale Grocers, Enterprise Holdings, and Fidelity Investments. So these are 10 of the largest private held companies in the United States. And according to this article, 8 out of 10 of them track their employees' productivity on an individual basis. Okay. A connection is coming to mind here for one. Cal Newport's article, The Rise and Fall of Getting Things Done, from a couple of years ago, talks something about this, not about tracking workplace productivity, but how productivity culture, specifically getting things done, putting the onus on the individual for productivity, actually has been negative. He makes the case that productivity is something that needs to be thought of in the organization. So the organization needs to make sure that there's an environment that's created, that processes are created for people to be productive within it, not putting the responsibility of being productive on each individual person. And so this is almost taking productivity culture to an extreme, like a terrible extreme in a sense. I'm still wondering, what are these 8 companies that are tracking productivity metrics for each individual worker? People are describing this practice as demoralizing, humiliating, and toxic. Yeah, basically, micromanagement is becoming standard. So to me, this is what happens when you try to carbon copy an in-office workplace culture to a remote context. You get people who naturally micromanage by hovering around their employees. Well, they can't see their employees, they can't hover around them anymore. And this is what happens. They end up installing productivity monitoring software on their computers so that they can micromanage them and have a sense of control. But in reality, oh, you see, we're getting a warning down here because I'm not being productive enough on the article. That's really fascinating and, again, harrowing. United Health, social workers marked idle for lack of keyboard activity while counseling patients in drug treatment phase. Wow. That's terrible. Wouldn't you want a person's full focus to be on a counseling session versus typing the entire time on a computer while they're actually trying to help people? Terrible. It's not going to be able to highlight that very well, I don't think. My goodness. How belittling to a person who spends their time ministering to the dying. Like, that's a really emotionally intensive and invested thing, but now, like, this person had to undergo productivity scoring. Yeah. Mouse jiggler. Yeah, I've heard of that. You know, to me, okay, here's something interesting. I used to work in kind of a tech IT company before, and one of the things that I noticed happening here and there is people were clicking off of videos and not being productive, and or clicking off of work and not being productive. They were watching YouTube videos and things like that. I had a more stringent thought process towards that at that time, but now I'm a lot more relaxed when it comes to it. Sometimes you need a break, but overall, the trend of your productivity and your work should be heading in a positive direction, not a negative one. But you know, people would have these buttons to make it look like they were in an Excel spreadsheet, or they would have, you know, to make it look like you're in a Google Meet call or something like that. At that time, it was kind of weird, frankly, that those things existed to me. But this mouse jiggler thing is like taking that to a whole nother level. And to me, though, this seems like almost a legitimate response to this, to monitoring, in my mind, because I can understand managers want. Sorry about that. Apparently OBS is just crashing left and right today. I don't know what happened. I haven't updated it or anything like that. I have made no changes to OBS since I streamed last time, so I'm not sure why. Oh, you know what it is? It's Stream Elements. I might need to figure out. Oh, I've got two versions of Stream Elements running in here somehow. Might have to figure that one out, because I think it's probably going to keep doing that. That's weird. Anyway, sorry everybody for the challenges today. It's kind of annoying. But yeah, it's life with streaming, right? We'll take a look at this again. Hopefully we don't get kicked off. If I do, I'll delete those plugins and I'll reboot. It might be a minute, so apologize for the challenges on all of that. But anyway, it almost really seems like the mouse jiggler thing is kind of a legitimate response to some of this overbearing, controlling stuff that's going on in the workplace. This is something here, getting into this, that I am, yeah. So this to me is a privacy concern. Number one, like, I've got a dedicated office space, okay? Like, I stream from this place. My work desk is over here. There's really nothing crazy going on, but not everybody has a dedicated office space. I used to have my office in my master bedroom because that's where I had to have it. And so if you aren't able to have your office in a dedicated space at home, and yet your employer is taking pictures of you every 10 minutes to verify whether you're working sitting in front of a computer. No, wow, that is a huge challenge. You know, I mean, what if that computer gets left on and those pictures are still being taken after hours? Like, that's a violation of privacy, in my mind, and so that's just a big challenge. Apparently, this guy lost a freelance job after refusing to install Time Doctor. This guy often works on paper, for one. Like, I do too. I love to work on paper because it just is a more free form space for me to work on stuff. but that's not going to show on a digital tracking tool. So there is some truth to this. This is why people install tools like Rescue Time on their computer, or they do time tracking with Toggle and things of that sort. So there is a positive side of this too. I don't want to just harp on this negatively. I do think the overall trend of this is extremely toxic for workplaces and remote workers. Let's be honest about it. But there is a positive benefit towards understanding where your time is going, what you're spending your time on, and how much dead space you very well may have in your day, or how much meeting time is in your day. Understanding is a good thing. That's why on smartphones a couple years back, that's why Apple and Google both implemented a form of screen tracking, like where are you spending your time on your phone, and reporting that to you so you can make more informed decisions yourself about, hey, I'm spending too much time on Twitter, or hey, I'm actually spending